Wikipedia is an online encyclopedia. It is written and maintained in more than 250 languages. Right now, I think we have 16 million articles. Of course, there is some uneven distribution of the number of articles per language. So there are large language editions, such as the English language one, Japanese, German. Basically, all the languages spoken in larger European countries are well represented. So this applies to Portuguese as well. Last I heard, the number of contributors and visitors from Brazil has long surpassed the numbers of visitors and contributors from Portugal. Virtually all of the budget of Wikimedia is coming from donations. The annual budget of Wikimedia was, I think, $7 million last year. This is a steep increase. The foundation used to run Wikipedia for much smaller amounts of money. This is in part to the extreme growth of Wikipedia and the number of visitors. We are right now ranking 5th in the ranking of the most visited websites in the world. And I think we are the only non-commercial website in the top 10 or even top 20. So this is making us quite unique and distinct in the online world. Wikipedia is used by 300 million people right now every month. And we know that it is extremely popular among students. So there is an ongoing debate of the place and the role Wikipedia plays in university, in schools. And we are often asked to give recommendations how to use Wikipedia in university life, in your academic life. And the standard response is that Wikipedia might be a good place to start research, but it's a terrible place to end research. So if you want to get familiar with a new topic, you can start at Wikipedia, and chances are extremely high that Wikipedia has a well-written article on the subject, and at the bottom of the article there is a selection of references for further reading. And I would like to encourage anyone to follow these links and to see what the internet, what libraries have to provide on the specific topic. One of the limitations is size. Even considering that the English language Wikipedia has 3 million articles and billions of words, a single topic is still rather small compared to what could be written about it. So, secondly, encyclopedias have for a long time fought against having to provide specific references to back up facts, which is contrary to the academic standard. So if you write a term paper, you will have to back up the critical pieces in your paper. You have to provide citation. And encyclopedias for a long time didn't do it at all. Wikipedia has introduced it, but we still have room for improvement. Wikipedia has several sister projects. One of them is Wikimedia Commons, which is an online repository for media files. So right now there are 6 million image files. There are some sound and video files on Wikimedia Commons as well, but the majority is clearly images. And most of these images can be used in encyclopedic context. So if you want to talk about a specific person, a politician, for example, it might be extremely helpful to present visual documentation on the crucial stages in his career. And if you want to speak about a mountain, it often helps to provide a relief profile of the mountain as well. So text does tell you a lot, but it's no way of being the only way of transporting information. Commercial usage is included in the definition of free use. It might sound to some people a bit of counterintuitive that a non-commercial project like Wikipedia insists on the possibility of allowing commercial usage, and there is a long debate about this, whether we should allow non-commercial content as well. The majority of people usually reject non-commercial usage because of its limitations. It is extremely easy to join a gray area where commercial usage is no longer a distant option, but it's a possibility, or it's a danger that you have already stepped into this area. So in order to allow proper commercial usage, we have to make clear that everybody who gives us content has to know that this is exactly what we mean by, yes, you can do whatever you want with the content for every purpose. It is extremely easy for us to go back in an archive and see what the pages look like after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, but it's almost impossible to reconstruct how the pages looked like 10 years ago, which is terrible. There is a black hole of information, and we are unable to tell how people at this time were receiving this information. The first thing that happened on September 11th was that the content management software was overwhelmed by requests of people coming to the website, so they shut it down and replaced it by static HTML sites, and then they overwrote the different versions, so they didn't keep the old versions. You can't reconstruct it anymore. And if there was a public library with a clear mandate to preserve digital publications, electronic publications, even temporary ones like newspaper websites, this could help close this black hole a bit, or at least prevent the hole from growing even bigger. The German copyright is extremely focused on some imaginary author who is creative but stupid, that needs protection against anyone else. And there's little room for innovation when it comes to new approaches in making cultural works available to the public, and at the same time helping the authors to get an appropriate share of money when there is a commercial application. The next large revolution will be done by whoever understands how to tap this large resource even better and use a tiny share of the time we waste right now by playing mindless games or by waiting for something. If you think about mobile devices, which are getting faster and better every day, and now think about all the time you spend in tiny slices of a few minutes waiting on the bus line, standing in a queue, and you start using this time for some productive things, huge amount of time opens up. Every time you're standing in a queue waiting for something, you can do a tiny task in providing a translation service, adding content, giving feedback, and it amounts to resources that are greater than anything we have ever seen so far in building large projects.